It contains spoilers for It Comes at Night. You've been warned!
What does?
It.
It contains what?
Spoilers.
What?
It contains spoilers.
I know it does, but what does it?
It.
What?
This podcast contains spoilers for It Comes at Night. You have been warned.
Why did you say that? What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. Sorry, I'm trying to put a string back in my sweatpants. This is your host, Glenjamin Button, along with your host, Miguel Magusto.
Hello, Glenjamin. How art thou?
This is really fucking hard to do. Have you ever tried to put a string back in like a sweatshirt or sweatpants?
Yes, I have. Yes.
It's terrible. I don't know why I'm
Yes.
doing this right now, but it's like an objective I need to complete.
Yes. But how you been doing, Glenn?
Other than this struggle, I've been doing pretty okay. It's been pretty fucking hectic lately in what is called life. And it's just no bueno when it does that. No bueno at all.
Yes.
But how are you doing, you silly man?
Oh, I'm doing good. Good. Just had my birthday. Was at a film festival for an entire weekend, so I watched a lot of movies. Mm-hmm. And it was a good birthday. I won an award. You were
did.
there. You were there.
Some people were trying to be optimistic, and look what happened.
Yes. You made me
Yes.
sit on the aisle,
Yep.
and I didn't want to.
And he's like,
Because
I
it's
don't
bad
want to
luck.
be. I don't want to be optimistic. Well,
Yeah,
that
optimism.
sucks.
Optimism kills people.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. Other than that, I mean, including that, it was great. But Glenn, how many
Yes.
movies did you watch this past 2 weeks?
I cannot remember, and what's even funnier is I just edited the last podcast. I can't remember what I had said I had watched in the last one, but I'm pretty sure I got it down to a little bit of tea and a little bit of crumpets or whatever they call them overseas. But for movies, I had watched 2, and then of course It Comes at Night, and then I had watched a TV show as well. But let me get into them. Let me break it down for you. I had watched Kramer versus Kramer. Again, I don't remember if I actually talked about that or not.
You talked to me about it. I don't think you said it on the podcast.
Meryl Streep, Dustin Hoffman. God, what a good fucking movie. I had heard about how good it was, but I kind of, when you're told that it's really good, you're like, I don't know if it's going to be really good. Well,
Yeah.
lo and behold, it was good.
It's not like me with Beetlejuice.
Yeah. So it definitely a solid movie. I was like, oh my God, my poor heart. Why is it doing this? Palpitating and such. Then we watched Speak No Evil. Pretty sure there's a fucking review that nobody has watched. Why aren't you guys watching them?
Well, I changed the time for tomorrow so I could have time to do the stuff I needed to do. So that's why no one's
technically,
watching.
I'm speaking in the future, so.
Oh, that's true.
Why aren't you?
That's true.
And then I had got a little hankering for watching Spartacus, Blood and Sand, and realized that I had never actually finished the show. Especially after the first season when Andy Whitfield had died, kind of left a taste in my mouth. Was like, they'll never top this guy, and they didn't. But I kind of want to see it through, so I'm gonna go through the next 2 seasons as well. I actually heard they are making another season with a main character from the first season, so now I'm just going right through it. But yeah, I believe that is all I had watched besides the short films at the film festival this past Sunday. But Mike, what did you get into?
Oh, I watched a lot. I mean, I was at that festival for the entire weekend. So I watched. There was 50 films included in that.
Golly.
But obviously, I'm not going to go through all of them. Most of them were shorts anyway. Let's see. I watched Rashomon, an Akira Kurosawa film from 1950. It's one of like the classic Japanese films that is especially involving a samurai, and it's kind of like for those of you who have seen The Last Duel, it talks about a specific case from the perspective of three different people. It's really cool, really interesting. Yeah, I highly suggest people check that out. We watched Speak No Evil, which we have a review for up on the YouTubes. Then the opening film for the film festival, Phoenixville Film Festival, that's the second year running, was Breakup Season, which has Chandler Riggs from who played Carl in The Walking Dead.
Was he there?
He was not there, but it also has Jacob Wysocki, which like most people don't know who that is. But I do, because I've been a fan of him from his. He had a sketch comedy group called the Bath Boys from like 2011, and I can't remember exactly when I watched it, but it was at least like 2012, 2013 that I started watching him, and he's hilarious. He's also on like the Dropout, Game Changer, Make Some Noise shows. He's just a really funny guy. Met him too. He was so cool. We talked for like an hour.
You said you're 2 for 2.
Yeah, 2 for 2 with Levi the Poet and Jacob Wysocki. So if I mean, obviously respect his privacy if you see him out and about. But if you're in a situation like a film festival where it is appropriate to approach him and talk to him, he's a really cool dude. Don't just walk up to him wherever he is. Make sure it's an appropriate thing. But yeah, Breakup Season was a really, really cool movie. Me, I don't normally care for romance, but this has a little thing.
Je ne sais quoi.
A je ne sais quoi that makes it. I really liked it. I thought it was a solid film. The character of the dad, played by James Urbaniak, I believe is how you pronounce it. He was hilarious. He was like obsessed with trains, and it was funny. But yeah, bunch of short films, including mine, The Plea, which won an award. What?
But just showing it off right now.
yeah. And a bunch of other like great indie filmmakers I met there, saw their films. I don't want to mention a few because then I'll have to not mention others. So I apologize if any of you people are watching. It's only fair. And then I watched It Comes at Night. So we'll get into that right now.
The door was already open when you got there.
Yeah.
Then who opened it?
I think they're sick.
Why's your mask on? Nobody's sick here.
Can't trust anyone but family. You don't get it.
How old are you, Travis?
If they're sick, then I am too. If you're lying to me, I will kill you.
Secure with a desolate home, as an unnatural threat terrorizes the world, a man has established a tenuous domestic order with. That's the first time I actually kind of fucked up in a while. Domestic order with his wife and son. Then a desperate young family arrives seeking refuge.
Yes, written and directed by Trey Edward Schultz, starring Joel Edgerton, Christopher Abbott, Carmen Ejogo, Riley Keough, Calvin Harrison Jr., and Griffin Robert Faulkner, and Mikey the dog. Mikey the dog.
We love you, Mikey.
Yes, so this, of course, came up in Streaming Roulette, a 24 film. It has a vague title that may or may not have actual answers to said title. But yeah, so this movie I was excited to talk about because it is a polarizing movie. I've had multiple conversations with people about it, and for the most part, it seems that people either love it or they hate it.
Double yep.
And straight off the bat, I love it. I'm in that camp. I don't get caught up on titles like a lot of people do. Why? Because I listen to metal music, and some metal songs have a paragraph-long song title, and it has nothing to do with the lyrics. So I'm used to it.
Yeah,
I'm used to titles that have nothing to do with it, with what it's about. But I mean, this isn't as vague, in my opinion, as people assume it is. We'll get into that later. But Glenn, this came out while you were in Virginia, I believe. We did not watch it together. I watched it by my lonesome.
It's so crazy because I feel like I remember us watching. I know we kind of had this issue last time, basically with that and Overlord. But I feel like maybe we just watched so many movies that it felt like it was just wrong not to. Maybe
we did? I don't know. When did you move to...
I did move 2017.
You did, okay.
I don't remember when, whether it was the beginning or middle.
I know Deadpool 2 was our last review, if I'm not mistaken. And this was released June 9th. And I believe Deadpool 2 was May.
Possibly.
So this could have been like the first week after you had moved.
Maybe.
Deadpool 2, where's your lovely, lovely release date?
You show us, goddammit.
Yeah. Oh, no, that came out in 2018. So are you sure you moved in 2017?
Yeah.
Positive?
God damn, I don't know. I think maybe she moved in 2017, and then I...
Yeah, maybe. But either way,
and then I came back 2019.
Yeah, who knows? Well, I mean, if we did see it together, it's weird that we didn't do a review for it.
That is true.
Unless we're just living a lie right now, and we did do a review for it.
No, I don't know. Unless it got lost in the ether there somewhere.
Yeah, let me.
But we checked. I checked.
Talk about the movie.
I checked last time, and it wasn't on YouTube.
Yeah, you check, and I'll check and you talk a bit about the movie.
I said I checked last time already.
I know, but I'm double checking.
I am checking now, too.
I'm trusting but verifying.
Anyway, whether or not we did see it together or not, I remember watching the movie. I gave it a 4.5 stars, but I'm curious on that 4.5 stars because I remember watching the movie and then mostly being confused by it. Because also I was one of those people that read the title and was like, well, where the fuck's the monster, man? So I feel like when I had first watched it, I was confused by it and just kind of felt lackluster towards it because there wasn't a monster of sorts or anything like that. And of course there were trailers where it was like, oh man, I'm going to see a monster. And then I think I rewatched it and got the grasp of it a lot more.
Yeah.
And then gave it that 4.5.
Okay.
But I don't think that was long after the first watch.
Yeah.
Because it had been basically since then, since I watched it last. And I gotta say, I love it now.
Yeah. I think I figured out what happened.
Tell me.
For those who have been following us for a long time, every now and then we take little hiatuses because one or both of us get burnt out. Yeah. And I think this was our first one because we were going hard from like July 2016 to March, April of 2017.
Yeah.
And I think one of us was just like, I need a break. So then from April 20th to September 8th, 2017, we didn't do anything. So I think that's what happened.
Look at us. Little investigations going on here.
Yes. We got down to it. You know, everybody cares.
I mean, that's a load off our backs there.
Yeah. I just remember absolutely loving it from the beginning. Yeah, like I said, I don't get too caught up on titles. I just like the vibe of most movies. Like, there's a lot of times where I watch a movie and I'm just like, I like that. I couldn't tell you why I like that, but I like that. And this is one of those movies where it's just the tone, the cinematography, the acting, the vibes, if you will, just come together to something that I quite enjoy.
And the Joel Edgertons, man.
Yeah. And I think if I remember correctly, knew what the It was straight off the bat, because it's really not that complicated.
No.
It's just, it's not some scary monster that people Well, I mean, not like a physical scary monster.
It is, but it's not.
Yeah. One thing I thought was interesting. I guess we could just talk about the of it. Is
it in the room with us?
It might be. I mean, it's always with me. But the cast and crew had to sign an NDA that they could never answer what the it is if it came up in press questions.
Yeah.
They just had to, kind of lead people on. And Trey Edward Schultz actually came up with the title before he wrote it. Again, which is why I never really put too much like weight onto a title, because it's just what it's called.
It does come at night.
It does come at night, and the it is whatever you want it to be. If you ask me, a lot of people say that it's Travis's dreams, played by Kelvin Harrison Jr. I personally think it's fear and anxiety and paranoia, and how it's just kind of the darkness of it all in this world that they created just makes man afraid of man, and that is a bigger monster than an actual monsters that these animals, humans, which are supposed to be civilized, become very uncivilized when they're angry or nervous or scared or have anxiety. It's these mental instincts that we have that when we can't control them because of heightened stress or whatever makes us the monster, and that is elevated tenfold when it's dark, and that's just human nature. People are afraid of the dark for whatever reason, and I'm not saying that like shrugging it off. It's like everyone has a different reason for being afraid of the dark. I'm personally not afraid of the dark, but I'm afraid of what's in the dark. Maybe
darkness is scary, man.
I like the darkness. I prefer being awake when it's dark out than I do. I don't like sleeping in the dark.
Day too bright, I guess, night just right.
I guess that's a way of being afraid. I wouldn't say I'm afraid of the dark. I just like sleeping better when I can see things. And that's because my mind plays a lot of tricks on me. Yeah. Don't laugh at that.
You should be in this movie, man.
I should be. No, I just I come from a family that has schizophrenia, and that possibly being schizophrenic is more scary to me than like a home invasion. So, and I know like there's medications and everything to have it under control nowadays. But I tell you, the stories I hear about my grandfather are way more terrifying than anyone pointing a gun at me. So,
yeah, you got to test that though, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I believe I am past the age where like I would already have been diagnosed or have symptoms of it. But like anytime, everyone sees shadows and they're like, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh my god, you get Zach with a good little shadow, he'll be shitting his pants for 2 weeks at least.
But anytime I see a shadow, I'm just like, "Oh, it's beginning now."
He's like, "You saw that ghost, right?" I'm like, brother, we gotta talk."
Zach, I'm gonna have to have a conversation with Zach.
That's just Peter Pan.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this movie. I think it's a solid film. The performances are great. This is the first film I saw Kelvin Harrison Jr., which is like one of the most underrated actors that's currently working right now. And it's just a wonderful film. But I feel like I've been rambling. So
you did a little rambling. But that's okay.
You go about some of your notes there, guy.
Yeah, the notes I have are nothing. I got nothing. I'm free balling right now.
Yeah.
I do feel as if as it's not any type of zombie or anything like that. I feel like it is kind of how to put this in the best of words. It's like The Happening, where like it's like this airborne thing that gets people, and then it gets people not to commit like suicide or anything, but like you were saying, it gets into the psychological. It gets people nervous. It gets people, seeing things. It heightens their paranoia and shit like that, and could even cause nightmares, such as Travis was having and Andrew at a certain point there, and so on. And kind of sleepwalking is a big thing too, because both of them seem to be sleepwalking a lot. I think a lot of that has to do with stemming from that the grandfather had it, Bud, and then it passed on to Travis, and then right to Andrew, and then everybody was getting freaky deaky because then at that point, kind of everybody was infected, causing everybody to be paranoid, and just having the plot be what it really was.
Yeah.
And at first grasp, you really don't. On the first watch, you don't really get that so much because at least me. Because I was waiting for like some type of zombie movie or some shit to come actually out of the night. That didn't happen. This watch, I kind of had realized, I'm like, how the fuck did most of these things happen? And then there was the dream sequences and shit like that. I'm like, oh, maybe something's going on within these dream sequences. And then I remembered at the end here, I'm like, how the fuck did the door actually get open if the keys are attached to Paul and Sarah? And then you kind of connect the dots where if all these people are infected and they're sleepwalking and shit like that, maybe they unlocked the door. Maybe they did these things.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to have these rewatches like this because then you get to dissect. You get to become Charlie and Always Sunny with the fucking bulletin boards in the mailroom and shit like that.
Yeah.
Because you're like, something's happening here. It's a really good movie. early A24 as well. Just one of their best. I always love Joel Edgerton. He's one of my favorites, and I wish he was in more.
And he produced this too. His production company, Animal Kingdom, was at the front. So
I wish he was in more, but I'll take what he's got.
Yeah.
I'll take what he's got, goddammit.
Yeah. One thing this film does really well, it really builds the world so quickly, with that opening scene with Bud, the grandfather, where it establishes there's a sickness. Everyone's afraid of the sickness.
Yep.
They're in this house where they have to board up the windows and only have one exit. And they're so afraid of the sickness they have to burn bodies, and they're in the middle of the woods. It creates the world so quickly in just 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That they have that, and also establishes the family structure of Joel, Carmen, Jogo, and Kelvin, and of course Bud, who has limited screen time but
very
kills
limited.
Kills it. I believe he's sick while watching it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Trey Edward Schultz just does such a good job. And if I remember, we reviewed his first film, Krishna, on here, and he did something very similar with that. I mean, that's a one location film with just a family's house on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
but it establishes the family bonds so quickly with that. So he's really, really talented when it comes to establishing a world and relationships really quickly. And one of his trademarks too, which he does in Waves. I can't remember if he does it in Krishna.
I was about to say, did you watch Waves?
I love Waves. Have you seen it?
I have not watched Waves.
Oh, okay. You have to watch it at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, the changing aspect ratio is what I was getting at, where throughout Travis's dreams, the letterboxing goes from 2-3-5 to 3-1, where it just narrows it and makes everything feel more suffocating, and then it does it so slowly at the end, where it's just over 15 minutes is just slowly compressing you. And I just love that he does that. We're in a world with projection and editing where you can change the aspect ratio throughout. Most people just do it from segment to segment, and few use it as a storytelling device. And I think he does it so subtly and so, effectively. Just building tension just with the closing in of the letterboxing. It's brilliant, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So I remember watching it. This was before I saw Krishna or anything. I think this is the first Trey Edward Schultz film I've seen. And I was just like, why the fuck am I getting claustrophobic at the end scene? Because the dream sequences aren't long enough to really feel it.
Yeah.
But the last the last scene where it just happens so slowly. I'm like, I'm getting so claustrophobic, and then I was like, oh shit, he's adjusting the aspect ratio to be super super small.
This guy's doing shit, man.
Yeah, he's doing shit. He's cool. So I thought that was cool, yeah, really added to the film overall.
There's a moment that I keep seeing in this trailer just now, and that I caught at this rewatch. And there's a picture in the beginning on one of the walls, and you wouldn't have gotten this because you're not into it as much as I. But there's a picture of a kid in like a graduation cap and everything on the wall. And I'm like, that looks so fucking familiar, and it's gonna drive me nuts. I didn't look it up. Only like 2 more minutes had passed, and I realized what it was. I'm like, that looks like I don't know exactly which Carter or which album, but it's one of the Carter albums from Lil Wayne. It looks just like it. And I looked up the trivia just now, and it's the fucking Carter 4. And I was like, I know it. Fucking detective, how you doing? Anyway, that made me feel good.
So they have a Lil Wayne album, or is it just like they recreated it?
It's the picture of Lil Wayne on that album.
That's hilarious. That's a hilarious Easter egg.
Of him as a kid in this like graduation outfit.
Yeah.
And it made me laugh. I'm like, that could be, the character Travis as a kid, but I swear to God, with all the letters on that Carter 4 album, I swear to God, I think that's Lil Wayne. It was.
Yeah, that's a fun. I love it when directors do something like that, where it's just, something, because they know it's never going to be in focus, so you might as well have fun with it. And no one's attention's ever going to be on it unless it's a multiple viewing. But yeah, that's hilarious. I love that. Oh, excuse me. Oh no. One of my favorite aspects of this is that for the longest time you never really trust Christopher Abbott's character, Will. Like, even though everything he says makes sense, and he's acting what seems to be very sincerely. Yeah, you're always just like, there's a catch though. Like, what is he hiding? What is he hiding? And it puts you in the mindset of Joel, where you just from the way it's shot, until you see his family, you never really fully trust him, and even then, it's just like, let's keep him at a distance a little bit. Yeah, because
then he slips, the fact that he wasn't at his brother's or looking for his brothers or whatever it was. It was his brother-in-law, and then Paul's like, that's very sketchy.
I mean, that may, like, if you're trying to explain something fast, that's a very reasonable thing to do. Be like, oh, my brother. Yeah. When you really mean brother-in-law, especially if you're close with your brother-in-law. Yep. It's like, it's plausible, but it is also like, you see why Joel thinks it's a little sketchy. You're like, okay, what's going on here?
I get this, but what?
Yeah. But he also does so much to show that he is being genuine, but it never feels like enough for some reason. Yeah. It's just like, I don't know if it's like the way that, like,
well, it's because at this point too is that we're all kind of paranoid of all the things going on. Yeah. And him not necessarily lying, but not necessarily actually saying, the full detail. Yeah, he gave the detail, but not the full detail. It wasn't a brother, it was a brother-in-law. There's enough to be like, so is he goofing around, or are we just playing here?
Yeah. And it just maintains that, whereas, like, and when it all comes to who opened the red door towards the end, it's you don't trust anyone. You like, other than Travis, you don't really trust anyone. Yeah, because it's told from Travis's perspective, and so you're just like, oh, did Joel open it and he didn't remember? Did Carmen Ejogo, her character Sarah, did she open it? Was it the kid? Was it
and then you're sitting there like, was it the kid? But also, they have to have a key to open the door. Yeah. So how the fuck did the kid do it?
Yeah. And it just and it just makes these questions that make you trust no one but Travis.
Yep.
And it's such an awesome, like, it's a film that, like, doesn't have a really solid plot, but it just works so well, in my opinion. And I really wish people didn't get hung up on the title.
Yeah.
Because it is a great film if you're not really waiting for it to come.
Well, technically, it did come at night.
It did, but it's not a physical thing.
Because, Bud got the dog sick. The dog got Travis sick. Travis got Andrew sick. And the only reason it came at night is because the dog ran away and Travis went to go get the dog, most likely at night when everybody was asleep and he was sleepwalking. And that's why the door was open and shit.
Yeah.
And it came. It came, it saw, it conquered. It fucked those two families up.
One more than the other.
Yeah, way more than the other.
Yeah. Which brings me to that final scene where the Will and Kim, Christopher Abbott, Riley Keough, and Andrew, the little boy, they're trying to get away. And, of course, Joel doesn't want them to go away because he thinks they're going to go bring someone back because he still doesn't trust them. Brother-in-law, not brother.
Yeah.
And when the gun goes off, when he points it towards Riley Keough and while she's holding Andrew, and then you hear her scream.
Yep.
I have never felt such, like, sadness and tension wave over an audience like I did when I saw that.
Yeah.
Like, it was palpable. Like, just
guttural.
everyone just knew exactly what had happened. And there's no question that he killed Andrew in that moment. And it's so powerful. And the way that Riley Keough performs is just, like, it's gut-wrenching. It hurts to watch. And the guilt that Joel Edgerton shows on his face in that scene is just like, he knows he fucked up, but he knows he needs to continue or else things are going to get worse. And it's just such a heart-wrenching scene and played, for lack of a better word, so beautifully. Like, it's so subtle. It's so well shot. It's so well performed. The sound design of it just going, like, completely silent for a beat before you hear her scream. Just everything works about that scene.
It does.
And, like, that scene alone made me fall in love with this movie. I think it's just such a fantastic scene. And honestly, it's the scene that makes me angry anytime someone focuses on the title too much. I'm like, you are missing a great fucking movie. You're just stupid and can't get past the title.
Oh, where's my monster at?
Yeah, what monster?
Where's my monster?
What doggo barking at night?
Why did it bark? You know what?
Yeah.
The dogs also got the paranoia disease.
Yeah.
It was barking at nothing.
To quote one of my films, dogs bark, Clint. They do. Dogs do indeed bark.
They bark, Clint.
Yeah.
And now look what happened to Clint.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, amazing movie, amazing performances all around. And very, just a straightforward movie as far as it gets to, besides, the name, which people can get over, it's going to be okay. It's very good, very good. One of my favorite A24s.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. At least top 10 if I'm thinking off the top of my dome here. But yeah, solid film. I will defend this film to the death because it's just the title. It's just a title.
It's just the title.
It's just a title.
It's just the title.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to look at other movies that have titles that don't make sense. The list that came up is not good.
Isn't that a good one?
Yeah. Because this one is... They have 7 on there. It's the 7 deadly sins. Are they really? Whoever made this list is
What
stupid.
does that even mean? I bet they don't even sin in it.
Someone didn't grow up in a religious household. But yeah, I love this movie, and that's really all I have to say about
Blade Runner? What are they running on? Blades?
it. Yeah.
Gross.
Gross.
It's gonna make me break another candle. These titles make no
Star
sense.
Wars? The stars never warred.
Yeah, why are they warring over Star?
Yeah. But yeah, should we get into the judgment?
No. Let's just stay here forever reminiscing over this
Okay.
movie. Yeah, we can get into it.
All right, so that does it for a review of It Comes at Night. That brings us to the judgment. As always, it needs to be a unanimous decision.
Is that
whether or not it
fucking
goes
Bill
to the-
Weathers on that wall of... the trailer keeps looping. Bill Weathers, I think, is on that fucking wall, too.
I don't know who Bill Weathers is.
He's a kind of a soul artist.
Okay.
Sorry. Anyway.
That's all right. So that does it for the review of It Comes at Night. That brings us to the judgment. As always, it needs to be unanimous decision whether it goes on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. So this was streaming roulette. So we get to flip a coin. Glenn, heads or tails?
Tails.
And it is tails. So you get to go first. Does It Comes at Night go on the shelf?
This movie's garbage. I never want to see it again. This title doesn't even have an it. Where's the it? Where's it at night? Never saw it. Dog go bark bark. Family die. Congrats. What a dumb movie. What a stupid movie. I'll take 20 of them. I love it.
Dog go bark bark.
Yes, this movie's, I mean, you kind of heard the whole scenario here, people. Movie's amazing. Don't get so held up on the title. It's really not the biggest deal.
Listen to metal where the song titles never make sense.
Don't open the red door. People are going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 100% on that shelf.
Devil Wears Prada has a song called Dogs Can Grow Beards All Over.
Meryl Streep sang it, too.
Yeah, she did. I completely, wholeheartedly agree. This film's garbage. It doesn't have an it.
Poo-poo.
It's poo-poo, but I will take 20 of them.
Yeah.
So because it's a great movie, and anyone who disagrees has their own viable opinion that I just so happen to disagree with. So It Comes at Night goes on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to our second week of Spooktober.
Boo.
So I looked at all the horror movies that were on my big list of movies, and none of them are currently streaming. So I just went and picked one.
Okay.
I picked this one because I met another filmmaker this past weekend at the film festival, and he lives in the town in which this film takes place.
Okay.
And he has been in a certain building in which this film takes place as well.
Ooh.
So I thought, yeah, sure, why not?
Are we watching The Blob?
No. I should have picked The Blob. Should I pick The Blob?
You gotta figure it out now.
Oh my goodness, is The Blob on anything?
Because I have only watched half of The Blob that I can at least remember in my brain.
I mean, it's...
Don't pick The Blob. Pick whatever you're gonna pick, man.
I mean...
you already made the whole spiel. You already made the whole spiel.
I could talk so much about The Blob.
There will be other Halloweens.
It's just kind of... It's a B horror movie, so it's not really scary.
It's okay. Most horror movies are just B movies.
Yeah. How about this? If we have enough weeks to do another streaming roulette, we'll just do The Blob.
Works for me.
I don't know if we will, but we'll figure that out. Anyway, so this film is going to be on Max. I met someone who lives in this town, has been in this house.
Scary.
It is.
Amityville
The
Horror.
1979 film. How'd you fucking know? The 1979 film, The Amityville Horror.
It's the kind of house they don't build anymore. A relic of a time when the world wasn't in such a hurry, when there was still time for a little charm and elegance. It has stood empty for a long while, and at the price, it is a bargain. For a growing young family, it is almost too good to be true.
What do you think?
I love it.
James Brolin, Margot Kidder, Rod Steiger in the Amityville Horror.
God's peace in this house.
28 days after the Lutz family moved into their dream house. They were running for their lives. What happened to them is an experience in terror you will never forget, and you will believe in the Amityville Horror.
Newlyweds and their 3 children move into a large house where a mass murder was committed. They start to experience strange, inexplicable manifestations which have strong effects on everyone living in or visiting the house. Directed by Stuart Rosenberg, written by Sander Stern, that's an interesting name, Jay Anson, and George Lutz. It stars James Brolin, friend of the podcast, Margot Kidder.
Yeah.
I mean, we did Sisters. Rod Steiger, friend of the podcast, Rod Steiger.
Of course.
Don Stroud, and many others. Let's see if there's anyone else that I recognize here. But yeah, that's going to be on Max, also known as HBO, the better name.
Yeah.
I've seen this movie, but don't really remember it. I've seen a documentary on the actual family that has interviews with one of the sons, so I'll talk about that as well. But yes,
And isn't this based on one of the families that the Warrens also were involved with?
I believe so. Yes,
Considious.
Conjuring. But yeah, we'll research that and talk about that next time. So, the Amityville Horror, 1979, not the Ryan Reynolds version. Sorry, bros.
Or Brolins.
Brolins is our assignment for next episode. Check that out on Max. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com, on Instagram, we're Keystone_film_review, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Keystone Film Review, and on Letterboxd, I'm Mike, KFR.
And I'm Glenn, KFR.
And that will do it until next week, or next episode. Sorry, we're still on the 2-week things, where we talk about the Amityville Horror.
Maybe Glenn has some history with this.
Oh, does he?
Remember, I just said the Warrens.
You're not related.
Family
though. We've
history,
established that.
baby. Family history.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.